Lois Queen sat at her desk at the Daily Planet searching for more information on Malcolm Malone. No matter where she looked, she came up empty. She switched to trying to find Morgan Ed, but he's nowhere to be found. It's like he went up in smoke. The story Galaxy Communications is pushing is that Edge sold his stakes in Galaxy Communications to Malone, then retired to Thailand. Lois wondered out loud, who retires to Thailand? Jimmy walked up and answered, someone who really likes Thai food. Lois asked Jimmy if there was a reason he was there and not just to add his witty repartee. Jimmy said he was there to tell her that Tess Luthor and Malcolm Malone were having dinner as they speak. Lois's face immediately brightened. That meant no one was home. She told Jimmy to grab his camera. They were going on a field trip. They arrived at Malones Mansion. As Lois and Jimmy snuck around the perimeter looking for a way in, they saw that Malone's security was practically military level. The more they saw, the more nervous Jimmy got. Lois gave up, realizing there was no way she was going to bobby pin her way in there. Jimmy mentioned that Malone was going to have a charity function for the orphanage at his house. Lois replied, "How sweet. I guess we'll just have to snag us some invites." Jimmy, horrified, asked, "And poke around when he's at home with a few dozen other guests?" Lois told Jimmy to live a little. Jimmy answered, "That's what I'm trying to do, stay alive." Clark ushered out the last of the drunks in the bar as the bartender closed up. Suddenly, his super hearing picked up on a robbery in progress at the Luthor Mansion. The bartender asked him what was wrong. Clark told her that someone was breaking into the Luthor Mansion and then sped off. Clark arrived at the mansion and found the security all unconscious. He walked past them into the house and heads for the office where the walk-in safe was. The thieves were walking out of the safe with only one thing. They see Clark and immediately begin to shoot at him. The bullets bounce off of Clark as he super speeds towards the thieves. He grabbed the gun out of one of the thieves' hands and flung him across the room. The other two thieves look at each other, then try to run away. But Clark super speeds ahead of them and stopped them. He takes what they've stolen and hurled them both against the wall. He called the police as he looked at what they were trying to take. It was a Kryptonian relic. As the sirens got closer, Clark left. Malcolm Malone and Tess sit together at a fancy restaurant. He casually asked her whatever happened to her brothers. Tess told him that Clark killed Lex, then disappeared and hadn't been seen for 5 years. Malone asked, wasn't it true that Clark was Ultram Man and that Ultram Man was back? Lois didn't answer the question of whether Clark was Ultram Man, but did say that Ultram Man never left survivors and this new guy hadn't killed anyone yet. Malcolm asked if she was worried about what she would do if it was Clark. Tess changed the subject and asked about his upcoming charity function. The next day, Jonathan visited Clark in his room at the bar. Clark opened the door to a fresh and cheerful Jonathan. Clark was feeling less than that because of his late night bouncing and stopping burglaries, but thought it would be best to control his attitude around Kent. Jonathan saw the relic and asked Clark what was it. Clark said that last night a group of thugs broke into the Luthor Mansion and this was all they took. Jonathan asked, well, why did he take it? Clark answered, because it's Kryptonian and he wanted to know what they wanted with it. Jonathan asked if it was the same as the kryptonite people used against him. Clark said yes and no. It was from the same place, but not harmful to him. Jonathan said, with all the Ultram Man rumors flying about, it probably has something to do with that. Clark wondered what would they need it for. Jonathan suggested a super weapon for a superpowered individual.